Voss. Dorothy Voss.
Dorothy?
Victor.
Victor. What is your birth date?
It's 6/9/23.
Okay. And yours?
4/13/28.
So does that make you 19?
90.
Oh,
I will be 90 in June 9th.
no, he's 19.
Wow.
He's 19.
Vic, where were you born?
In Krakow, Missouri.
Marco, Missouri native.
And you, Dorothy?
Union.
Union. I live in Union now. What branch did you serve in?
In the Navy.
Why did you choose that branch?
Wait, that again.
Why did you choose that branch?
Just had a choice and I took it.
What was your, oh, never mind, we'll get to that in a second.
Oh, go ahead.
What was your rank in the Navy?
Farmer.
Army?
Farmer in second class.
Farmers. Can you explain what that is?
Well, it's just it's like being first sergeant in the Army.
Interesting. So did you belong to a unit, platoon, battalion?
Hmm?
Did you belong to like a unit, platoon, or battalion?
And I was on a destroyer escort in the North Carolina Islands. And I wasn't in no port or anything. I was out in between those, I think it's about 7 islands there, and then I was in between one of those islands. And there was about maybe 30, 40 ships in that area. And there's about maybe 4 or 5 destroyer escorts and maybe 4 or 5 destroyers going around protecting that ships in there. Mostly oil tankers and the cargo ships. And why? That's I guess they had a reason for doing it, but that's I guess it was a stop-off place, might say. Yeah.
So what war or wars did you serve in?
World War II.
Can you explain that time before you went in?
You mean before he went into service?
Yeah, before he went to the service. Can you explain?
What he was doing at home?
Yeah. What was your home life like?
I was at home with my dad. He was foreman at that time.
So you enlisted, correct? You didn't get drafted?
I got drafted.
Oh, drafted. So where were you when you heard about the start of the war, and what were your thoughts about it?
When the war started,
Yeah, where were you when the war started, and what were your thoughts about the beginning?
I guess when they bombed Pearl Harbor, that's when I took interest in the war, I guess. And what year that was, I don't know. It's on the book someplace.
43?
1941.
41.
I was going to say 41.
Yeah.
44 is your,
Yeah.
yeah.
You had an older brother in the Army.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you explain like your family, about anyone that was in?
Well, my older brother was in the Army, ahead of me, and then I went in the Navy, and my youngest brother, he was in the Korean War, so.
Are they still with you guys?
My oldest brother passed away. My youngest brother was on the honor flight too, with me sometimes.
What's his name?
Joe.
Joe. Okay.
So which boot camps did you attend?
Great Lakes.
Great Lakes?
Yeah.
What was it like there?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't find it hard or anything. It just things you got to do. That's all.
Found it pretty easy.
Fairly easy, I would say. Yeah.
Well, You went in December, so it might have been cold there at that time.
Well, it might have been cold, but I didn't. Uh,
Where were you stationed?
where I was stationed?
Yeah.
I wasn't stationed anywhere. So I was on that board that said
Yeah.
Yeah,
USS.
that's right.
The Navy was
Yeah, that's
always
right.
aboard a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
What ship were you on?
Hmm?
What carrier were you on?
I was on the destroyer Escar. That's
Yeah. What was the name of it?
Sanders.
USS
USS
Sanders.
Sanders.
USS Sanders 40.
And was you on another one then?
Well, yeah, that was just temporary.
Oh, okay.
Was this after or before the bombing of Pearl Harbor?
That was after.
That was after.
What were your responsibilities in the service?
I was on the lookout. I was on 1 hour and off 1 hour, then for 8 hours. Then we, every once in a while, they dog the watches. What they call it, dog the watches. And you had a different set of hours. What I did is scan the horizon with the binoculars, perceive any ships or any object. I report any object that I seen. I had the compass before me. I could tell what degree I seen that object, and then I report that to the.
What kind of objects did you ever spot? Anything?
Well, yeah, I used to spot ships. You didn't have to identify anything, but just most time the ship come in, it might be our own ships, or I didn't have to determine that. They had them guys did it.
So you were on a ship most of your day. What was that like? What was daily life like serving at that time?
I don't follow you on that one.
Daily life, like what was your daily routine throughout that day?
Like while you're
While
on
you
the
were
ship?
on the ship, how
While
did you
you're on the
feel about
Sanders.
being on the ship?
Well, I don't know. I was there. I can't always explain that one. Every morning you get out, it was water. And once in a while, they anchored the ship. And then you could,
You could get on land.
yeah. I guess about once every 2-3 weeks. Then I got on a smaller boat. Got on uninhabited island close by.
Did you go dancing?
Hmm?
Did you guys go dancing?
No.
No.
No,
They went drinking once in a while.
see, with no alcohol on board ship, and that's the only place where you could drink some beer then.
What were the living? Oh, go ahead. What were the living conditions like when you served overseas? Or whenever you
I didn't
served?
find it too bad.
What was the food like?
Mhm.
What
Food?
was the food like?
Fair. I didn't have any problems with food.
Did you have to catch the fish?
Hmm?
Did you guys have to catch fish and cook them?
Did you ever catch a fish? You didn't.
No.
You didn't have time to go fishing, most likely.
No. I'm a little bit hard headed, so
Sorry.
I think I'll put things together. So
Did you ever see combat at all?
no. Yeah. The only thing, our ship chased some subs. The main object for that our ship was to keep the subs away from, or destroy them. And we chased them, but we don't know whether we got them or not. So
Probably just chasing them out of the area. Is that correct?
yeah. See.
During those chasing times, like you were saying, were you scared? Were you like worried at the time when they said that they have spotted a submarine?
No,
No.
not really. So we had the advantage. We had radar, so we could pick out subs before they see us. Really, so usually before we had radar, then there was sitting ducks, more or less. We didn't, but then yeah, radar, invented radar, and we could, I don't know how far, I don't really don't know how far it can detect them, but then we had, that's the reason why we had that many ships going around as kind of tankers and cargo ships. There was no battleships. I guess it's more or less the place where they, when they need some fuel somewhere, they tell that certain ship to go to a certain place like that.
I think we're fine on that part.
What did you do to entertain yourself while you were on the ship in the service?
What did you
play
do to
cards?
I was trying to think. Well, nothing really. You didn't have much time to think, do anything else. If you wasn't on watch, a time off, you had a ship paint or paint something.
Like we see in movies, we see like in the ships they have like boxing matches. Was that true back then, that you guys have boxing matches in between?
Well, that's one guy boxed around, and I got in one round with him. That wasn't enough.
Did you win?
No.
No.
I didn't want to get involved with that.
Big man?
No, it was just a couple of guys.
Wow.
Could you tell me some of your most memorable experiences?
Well, one of it is that when I came home, I crossed the international date line, and that was on the 4th of July, so I had 2 4th of Julys in 1 year. It was 4th of July on one side, and when I come to this side, it was 4th of July, yeah. That wasn't so bad, but then we hit a storm, and when our boat was the lightest boat on the ocean. And when those screws came out for water, the whole ship started shaking. And I was hoping I was on a little bigger ship at that time, but that didn't last too long. So.
Did you get seasick then?
Not on the. I got seasick getting going there on a troop ship then to get to this ship.
Did you ever hear anything about D-Day or Iwo Jima?
No. See, I could explain a little bit more. The ship was on, it developed engine trouble. That's why I came back on the States side. And from there, I got on another destroyer. It's called Temporary. And then I went on a troop ship and got on what they call an ARL, as a landing craft repair ship. That's when I got on there for till duration. And
did you or your uniform receive any medals or citations?
no.
Your medals.
Oh, I got a couple of them, but I don't know nothing for heroic or anything. Just and one was for a certain part where I was.
Where you served at.
Yeah. And I had another one. I don't know what that one was.
If you don't mind me asking, what was your most scariest experience that you had to go through?
Well, that would be it. Where when I hit that storm.
Oh, you hit the storm. Okay.
Well, we did have at one time at a how would you call it? I can't even think of the name now. Anyway, it floats in. Got the, what do you call that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, it's a bomb. That's what it floats on the water, and it's got these prongs that everybody takes to. If you hit the ship, it would explode. Then our ship sank that thing with a twin 40 millimeter guns. So that's about the exciting thing we had.
How did you sink it without touching it?
I don't know. I know every fifth round is a tracer bullet, and you kept hitting, and first you know it sunk. It didn't explode or anything.
So how far away from
That was
where you?
I would say about a quarter mile, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not a big enough explosion.
Yeah.
So you never had any instances where you were looking out and all of a sudden, what I mean is, were you able to see any other ships around you, or is it just by yourself?
No, I usually go 4, 5, 7, 8, 6 ships going around this convoy or
So you never witnessed any of them getting attacked or anything?
no.
Enemy aircraft?
No. I didn't see nothing. It was getting towards the end of the war, and that made a difference too. But then our ship didn't get into
No conflict.
no. Usually they painted on the bow, and there was nothing painted on there.
Do you remember where and what you were doing when the end of the war happened?
I was on the way going to that repair ship, ARL. I forget the number of that ship. That was about halfway there. And that ship I really had nothing to do. I was just putting in time. And I was lucky enough, met up with a young guy who took up weightlifting and stuff like that. And I was on Christmas Day. We went to Mass in Seoul, Korea. It was 25 degrees below zero.
Whoa. That's cold.
It is cold, but think about the
Yes,
troops.
Nowadays, you wouldn't do that nowadays.
Think about the troops on the ground there.
Well, definitely.
Is there anything you'd like to just say in particular? Just anything you'd like to speak about, talk about?
Not really.
What about your honor flight?
Look at that honor flight. Because I see your hat there. You got the honor flight hat.
Yeah. Well, I guess you know that. I was lucky enough to pick Miss Missouri as my honor guard. And she picked her name out of a hat, and she happened to pick
got his
mine.
name.
So.
But that made you cool. Got Miss Missouri by your side.
Yeah. She wheeled me around in a wheelchair from different. So my problem is I can't walk too far. I cut my legs, and I was in a wheelchair the biggest part of the time on the honor flight. So, and we visited all the museums, and so it's quite a day that day. A long day. We left 2:30 in the morning.
2:30 in the morning and got to St. Louis about 20 minutes to 11 that night, and then they had a little ceremony at the airport. So by the time we got back home from the airport, it was quite late.
So you picked them up from the airport?
Yeah, the whole family went down to greet them when they all got home. They got off the plane.
How about you two? How long have you guys been together? Or have you known each other longer than
Too long.
too long?
We're married 65 years.
So did you guys know each other before the war?
Yeah, he was a friend to my brother, my older brother. Well, I guess the families knew each other anyway. We're all from the same area.
Okay. Let's see, what was I going to say? Let me stop this. I was going to say something. Is there anything you'd like to say? Whenever he came home, what was it like for you? Were you guys dating before he left?
No, we
or-
dated when he came home on his first leave.
What was that like for you?
Well, I was pretty young, and I thought it was pretty nice going out with a sailor.
Alright. Did you guys, whenever he had to go back, did you guys ride each other every day?
Well, I don't know about every day,
Well,
but quite often.
Yeah, quite often.
And board ship, but hard time when they got mail. It was probably weeks before you got any mail
Yeah,
at a
it's
time.
come in bunches. So
Miss Voss, did you work at all during the war?
Yeah, I worked in the garment factory here in Washington.
What were your responsibilities?
I just was working on a sewing machine, sewing lingerie.
Do you miss that job?
Pardon?
Do you miss your job
No,
since they shut it down? No?
no.
So were you working there even before the war had started?
Yeah. No, wait a minute. No, I don't think so. No, I wasn't working there yet when the war started.
If you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you first started working?
18.
18. Did you have to be 18 in order to start
No,
working?
my mom and dad had a business that they were running, and I helped them until then.
Were you a graduate from high school before
No.
you started working?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. What about you, Victor? Did you graduate high school before you went
No.
to war? No.
Back in our day, there wasn't that many went to high
there's
school.
only one student in my grade that went to high school at that time. Yeah. But then, at that time, his first high school was first really starting out, really. Then, now they're mandatory now.
Miss Voss, was there newsletters or papers having an opinion about the war at the time? Or during all throughout that time?
Yeah, it was in the newspapers, and I don't know if we even had a radio at that time. Well, we didn't have electric at that time, if you can remember back, and people talking about that. So it was just up to the newspaper that we would hear the most.
Was there any negativity at all, or more support?
Well, we were all more worried about it and wondering what was going to happen.
When he went back, were you ever worried how worried were you throughout the day whenever
You'd think about it, and
You
if you
think
hear
about it
something
all the
that was
time.
happening in the war, why you just
it's
really
like your
think
loved
about
one comes straight to mind? Were you scared that you were going to get that note?
do what?
Were you scared you were going to get that note saying,
Well, I
Something
don't
happened
quite
to Victor?
I don't quite remember whether I ever thought about that or not, but when you're young, like you people, why you don't think of all those things?
Yeah, we got the Globe Democrat paper from St. Louis paper, and first thing I did was read the funnies. And my dad always say, well, "What do you want to read that for? Read the front page." So I finally I did start reading the different places.
The front page basically told you everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the only entertainment we had was the cartoons in the paper. But then later years we got a battery operated radio. So before we got electric, we got electric in 1944. So that's after I went into service, really.
I don't think either of you could imagine what it would be like not having electric or
would not be able to live
no,
without this thing?
no,
I
nothing.
can't do it.
Coal oil lamps.
So, Miss Voss, what rules or laws did you have to follow because of the war? Was there like curfews or?
Well, there was curfews and rationing food, sugar, and I don't know, meat was rationed. Of course, living in the country on a farm, you could have your own meat.
Going back to Victor, when you got packages from home, what was it like just knowing that your loved ones are still back there sending you stuff and thinking about you? What was it? What did the thrill feel like getting your
Yeah,
packages
I don't remember
and
getting
letters?
too many packages.
No.
No.
What about letters from Miss
Oh,
Voss?
I guess I really didn't know her that good till till after they. And that time, I don't think you ever sent any packages. At least I don't remember.
Sending any packages. I
Yeah.
don't remember if I did or not. I don't know.
What about letters?
Yeah, that I did.
Do you still own keep the letters that she sent you?
Not
I kept
any.
them for a while, but then I don't really know.
8 years ago, we moved from the farm to where we're at now, just in our lot in the farm. So we got rid of a lot of that stuff.
Do you still have any memorabilia that you have from the war, like your outfit?
I got my Navy uniform yet. I got I don't fit in it no more. It's been in a cedar chest for 30, 40 years, I guess.
What other type of stuff did they give you, like that you had? Like most people, a lot of people, and people that I know that went to World War II, they kept their emergency box. They had their toothbrush, their Band-Aids, their stitching packs. Do you still own that?
No.
No, I'm not. That we was issued a hemlock. I took that
Envelope?
home.
An envelope for that, you said?
Huh?
They issued you a what?
Hemlock, where you
Oh, a
tie to, where you can sleep in.
Or a hammock?
Hammock, I guess would be right.
Hammock, okay.
Yeah, we tied that between two trees for a while.
No.
And that,
Yeah, but he was asking you about memorabilia.
yeah, I know he did that. But
Okay.
that's about the only thing I could
Oh,
think
you
of.
mean you brought that hammock home and tied it between trees? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still have your hammock?
No, I don't have
No.
that no more.
Miss Voss, were people treated differently because of their race or heritage here in this area during the war?
I don't know about that too much.
Alright, Miss Voss, did you say you had anyone in your family in the going to war at the time?
My older brother was in the Navy,
Your older brother.
and then a younger brother. Let's see. Would that have been during the Korean War when Elmer went in?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but he was sick. He passed out when they were passing and stuff, so he never ever left Fort Leonard Wood.
Is that how you met
No.
your older brother? Is that how you met?
Well, the family knew
Oh,
each
well,
other.
the family knew.
Yeah, but
Did-
my older brother used to come over a lot.
Were they in the war together? Were they?
No.
No.
Well, his older brother.
My
Yeah, her. And we played guitar, and I played the guitar, and he played the accordion. And on Sundays, I would go down, play together. See, that's and my older son, brother Clemens, he played accordion too. So I had two people I can play guitar with. So, but I never did master the guitar. After I got in a dairy business, that in order to play the guitar, you got to build up a callus here.
Yeah.
And I lost that, and I played for a half hour. Then my fingers got so sore, I lost interest.
That's what I did. I played it for a couple of weeks, stopped for about a month, and then they were gone. I was like, oh, can't do this no more.
No, you got to stay at it
Yeah.
every day up there.
Miss Voss, you said you had to do rationing. Did you have like the booklets?
Yeah, you had food stamps. You had to have so many stamps to, like, I just mostly remember sugar, and you had to have a certain number of stamps to get a bag of sugar. When flour, I think, was rationed.
Was it, did you live on a farm at the time?
We lived in the country, not on the farm.
Did you had neighbors that lived on farms and they had farm animals and stuff?
Yeah.
Would that help
Well, yeah.
instead of having to spend your ration books?
Mhm.
Would knowing family members and stuff did that help a lot better?
Yeah.
So,
Well, like I said, we lived in the country, just had a small area. We could raise our own chickens and our pork if we wanted to and stuff like that. So that helped out a lot.
did people ever? What was it like at that time? Did people ever try to come over and steal your?
We didn't have any trouble with that, but
No.
I've heard of it happening, but
No.
we didn't have any trouble.
So you never. Oh, go ahead,
Okay.
Michael. Okay. So you never experienced any shortages since you had your friends help you out. Did
No.
you ever hear of shortages at all in the area?
Well, like mostly with sugar, because if you wanted to do any canning, what you raised in your garden, and you would usually run short of sugar. I can remember my mom and I canning peaches. Well, you didn't have the sugar, so we used white syrup, and it worked.
Did the shortage last for a long time?
Well,
or-
the duration of the war.
31 minutes. We're doing good. How much questions do you have?
I think 3 or 5 maybe. I think.
This is good so far.
Yeah.
All right, Victor, back to you. What was it like after the war coming back home? Like after you were done and they sent you home, did they tell you that you might have to come back due to
No,
something else
no.
happening? No.
No. I worked out at well, 3 different places before. I worked at shoe factory for a couple of months, so I didn't like that job. Then I did some construction work, and well, that played out in winter. So then I got into the Zero manufacturing plant, where they built tanks for cooling milk and stuff like that. I worked there for, I guess, about 2 years, and then I decided I wanted to go back to the farm. That's what I did. And we started a dairy in 1950. So I milked cows for 35 years, and
Oh, okay.
I'll be back.
When the war was over, was there any celebrations going on in the town, or was there celebration on the ship at all? Like,
You didn't have any celebration on
I
the
don't
ship
think
when
so, no.
they just kicked you out. Oh.
yeah, you had a hard time finding a job. But what do you got? Well, just like now, just the job wasn't that available. So everybody was built stuff for the war, and when that shut down, well, you had all those people looking for jobs, and servicemen coming home looking for jobs. That it took 3, 4, 5 years before it really straightened out.
Is there any of your family now, like grandsons, granddaughters, great grandsons? Are there any that are in the war now, that are enlisted or
No.
overseas? No.
No.
No,
How many people? How many people did you say altogether in your family that have been to war?
what's that?
How many people in your family have been in the service?
Oh, just the 3 of us.
Just 3 of you?
Yeah.
In your immediate family, but you had cousins.
Yeah, well, yeah, cousins, stuff like that. I had a first cousin that died in the war. That's the only person I had in what I knew that was missing in action. He was in the Navy too, and I guess his ship sunk or something, and I never did find him.
During World War, whenever Pearl Harbor was being bombed, is it true that they could still hear some soldiers at the bottom inside the ship knocking on it, thinking that they're still alive? Is it true that they can still hear them knocking?
I don't know. I really don't know.
'Cause I've read in books that it's happened, that they
Yeah,
thought
I
they
guess-
still heard people in the
yeah.
ships.
Possible, but I don't know.
Okay.
you wanna do a stop clip or something?
This is gonna sound weird, but what was the most enjoyable thing about going off and being on overseas? What was the most enjoyable thing?
Well, I guess to see what's going to happen. I guess. I know. You don't know from one day and that till you get there. There was 4 guys got on to Sanders with me, and there was Vega from Los, and I can't think for the other guy. And Burton, he was from Peoria, Illinois, but the other 2 guys were Mexicans. Vega, Villalobos, that's what it is, Vega and Villalobos. And we got, since we got on the ship at the same time, we got to know each other pretty good.
Okay.
But after that ship came home, we got split up, so.
What was your favorite thing about coming back?
I was glad to get home. It's just I had enough point system, and I had enough points to get home, so, and start life over again. That's more or less.
What about you, Miss Voss? Knowing that he was coming home, what was it like for you?
Well, I was very happy about it, that he was going to be home and we could see where our relation was going to go.
How long, I'm going to ask a family question. How long after you were home did you ask her to marry you?
It was a
Good
year.
question.
A year,
Yeah.
because we were married and then we got married a year later, because my dad was terminally ill between that time, and we couldn't make no wedding plans. So it was 2 years after he got home, but it was a year after he got home we got engaged.
Yeah, probably that's right. Yeah.
So, Ms. Voss, did you have any funny stories or anything happen while you were here at home?
You mean during that time when?
Yeah, during that time, yeah.
I don't know. I was just busy writing letters. Like I said, my older brother was in service, and I had a couple of cousins that I wrote to, and I wrote to Vic, and so that was mostly my time.
Was there any interesting moments at all? Can't think. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Interesting moments, like,
Yeah.
what are the things that happened? I think we covered that one earlier.
Oh yeah, we did. Oh, I think we did. I apologize. Do you remember what you were doing when the end of the war had happened? Were you outside, maybe sitting on the porch, or?
I have no idea. I can't remember that.
Or 38.
You and your brother came home about the same time, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
He got out of the Army and you got out of the Navy about the same time.
What was that like, reuniting with your, I'd say your best friend?
But,
Would you say
I don't know, it's,
Or was he like your brother?
what's that again?
What was he more like, a brother or a best friend?
Who?
Your brother, Clem.
Oh, no,
Oh, I thought you were saying your brother.
Oh, well, yeah, my brother, no, his brother and him got out at the same
Oh,
time.
okay.
I don't
Well, what was that like, reuniting with him?
I don't know, it's kind of enjoyable. You start playing guitar and
Accordion.
that's what we did for pastime. And then well, he got married and I got married and we have kids, and that eliminated a lot of us playing. But he played a lot longer than I did, because when we had a family reunion, he played and did accordion. And,
Miss Voss, or you can answer this too. After he got out, how long, because it takes, most people that went to war, it takes a while for them to start talking about it. How long did it take for him to open up and start talking about it?
I don't know. When did you feel like talking about it after the war?
yeah, I'd put that behind me, and I start thinking about starting a dairy, really. And I may see my youngest brother and I would work together on a dairy farm. Then he got drafted in the Korean War, and when he came back, I had it was 2 years. I was doing it myself then anyway, and he didn't want to get back into it, so he got a job at Sporting Bell at that time. So, or year. Oh yeah, I guess he had a different job first, and then he got into the Sporting Bell. Sporting Bell was a pretty good place to work after the war.
Ms. Voss, did you want to hear about his experiences whenever he came back? Were you worried about it, or were you just curious about wanting to know what he did? And
Curious about it and
Yeah.
find out what he did, how he did it.
if you remember, how long after he came back do you think it was that he started telling you about it?
I don't know, since you didn't really see no battle, it wasn't that hard to
wasn't that
talk
hard.
about it.
Yeah.
I think those men, boys that seen battle and stuff, it was harder for them.
Yeah, that's what it's like for my dad. He was in the Marines for 8 years.
That was
Pardon?
My dad was in the Marines for 8 years,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
he still doesn't.
Wasn't want to talk
He just now, a couple months ago, told me about his first experience.
Yeah, I think that was with a lot of them, they didn't want to talk about it.
Vic, how had Washington or wherever you were had changed while you were gone? Was there any did you see any differences at all?
No, I don't quite get you what you mean.
How much did Washington change while you were gone?
Oh, I don't think not too much.
I don't think the
Okay.
town changed as much as the rural areas. That's when they started getting electric and the roads improved
Mhm.
and things like that.
I don't have anything else. I'm out of questions. I know you're done. I have.
Is there anything else you would like to share that we didn't ask about at all? Either of you?
I really don't know. I can't think of anything right now.
What about Victor? Anything else you'd like to add?
No, not that one thing but the honor flight, I enjoyed that part. That was fortunate enough. There was 3-4 other guys on the honor flight that I knew. So, and the weather wasn't the best, but we had a good time.
Were you able to find your name on the wall?
No, my name wasn't on
Oh, wait,
there.
you weren't on the wall. I thought it was a lost soldier star on the wall.
I hope not.
Alright. Do you still keep in touch with anybody?
Hmm?
Do you still keep in touch with anybody that you went to war with?
No,
Or that you knew that was there?
No.
no. I know the Burton in Peoria, Illinois. I was always going to try and get in touch with him, but then I never did accomplish that. We got to be close friends because while I was on board ship, and then when I got transferred to a different ship, and he got somewhere else, and that was it.
Can you, to people that are going to be watching this, can you give any words of encouragement or advice to people who are thinking about going to war and thinking about doing stuff with that?
I don't know. I wouldn't, as far as giving advice, I wouldn't know what to tell them.
What would you like to say about it? Like, no, we already answered that throughout this whole thing. Alright, that's good. Nothing else you'd like to say? Anything?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
Well, we'd like to thank you for your time and your